I want to tell you all a very important thing, which each one of you must remember very well. It is a fact that I am the Lord of the universe. I am omnipresent, and yet I suffer immensely and undergo great humiliation. My suffering to you may just appear to be physical or mental, but it is always universal for everyone and everything. The question then arises is, why this suffering? This is of fundamental importance for you all to understand. This will lead you to love me the way I should be loved. The 5 perfect masters are enough to run the affairs of this world, but they cannot take upon themselves the sufferings of this world. For this sole reason, they precipitate my advent. I have been made to take this form by the 5 perfect masters of the age to bear the cross and to undergo humiliation. My suffering and humiliation is actually the outcome of my divine sense of humor. To suffer and get humiliated is my responsibility as the avatar of the age, and it has been the same in all my previous advents. In each advent of mine, I suffered, and my divine sense of humor sustained me. Actually, before I met my beloved in union, I lost everything: ego, mind, and the lower consciousness. But thank God, I did not lose my sense of humor. You know, God's Leela is divine fun. It is the expression of the divine sense of humor on the part of His great ones, and as such, volumes can be written about God's sense of humor. Literally volumes. The ordinary sense of humor is present in every individual, more or less, and it does not undergo any change merely on account of any spiritual advancement or because of divine enlightenment of the individual. Not only the sense of humor, but the ordinary individual nature as a whole of a person remains unchanged, no matter how far one is advanced or one is enlightened. The scope and range of God's sense of humor through avatars, prophets, perfect masters, and saints, however, differs according to the scope and range of their respective duties, in accordance with the prevailing time and circumstances. But the form of expression of and extent of the response to the sense of humor, both ordinary and divine, depends upon the original nature of God's great ones. Let me tell you whether I am the avatar or the Satan. One thing is certain, and that is, I have a great sense of humor. Let me now tell you different incidents in the lives of the past avatars, which illustrates their unique sense of humor. When I was Zarathustra, thousands of years ago, I traveled through different parts of Iran and told the people there to think good thoughts, speak good words, and do good deeds. Instead of treating me well, they beheaded me. My blood was shed to take upon the ignorance of my own people. That was my sense of humor. King Vistas, under whose patronage I propagated God worship for Mazda Yasni, was killed in self-defense at the age of 77. Why? Because his enemies did not like him offering prayers in the fire temple. Man unknowingly suffers for God, and God knowingly suffers for man.
चरितं रघुनाथस्य शतकोटि प्रविस्तरम् एकैकं शरं पूसा महापातकनाशनम् ध्यात्वानीलोत्पलश्यामम् रामं राजीवलोचनम्.
When I came as Ram, I wandered from one ashram to another, meeting with saints and advanced souls. I gave shelter to all, even the worst sinners who repented for their deeds. I promised many that I would ferry them across the infinite ocean and merge them into reality. But see my sense of humor. I drowned myself with my close ones into the shallow waters of a small river called Saryu. What an irony! I could not protect my most virtuous wife from the ridicule of my own subjects. This period when I dwelt on earth as Ram was known as the Satyug, the age of truth. Yet, people did no justice to me, even to the most truthful king in the history of mankind. Remember very well, ordinary man suffers for himself. Masters suffer for humanity, whereas the avatar suffers for one and all beings and things. Remember that.
अच्युतं केशवं रामनारायणं कृष्णदामोदरं वासुदेवं हरिम्. अच्युतं केशवं रामनारायणं कृष्णदामोदरं वासुदेवं हरिम्. श्रीधरं माधवं गोपिकावल्लभं श्रीधरं माधवं गोपिकावल्लभं जानकीनायकं रामचन्द्रं
When I came as Krishna, the age was still prosperous, but on the threshold of a new era. People began to master the great hidden powers, and I had to come with all counterpowers. My childhood saw many occult forces being targeted against me, and in my youth, I spent most of my time in settling people's quarrels in order to uphold the cause of justice. I revealed my universal form to Arjuna on the battlefield of the Mahabharata and protected him from his own enemies. The strife between the Kauravas and the Pandavas and the consequent bloodshed was not only due to my divine sense of humor in Krishna, but its height was reached when Krishna himself died through an arrow that accidentally struck one of his legs from the bow of an ordinary hunter who never had any intention of harming the Rangila avatar in any way. All needy got shelter under my encompassing love, and I set the greatest example of love between me and my devotees. And finally, as I said, I got killed by an arrow of an innocent hunter. My divine sense of humor as Krishna was matchless, absolutely matchless. Of prosperity and God's dignity changed into a period of Brahminic dominance, replete with all rites and rituals. Suffering, sickness, aging, and death became the cornerstones of the time. Then I came as Buddha to bestow upon my people the benediction of salvation. I wandered begging from place to place, and for the first time in the known avataric history, I established a spiritual ashram to teach the way of salvation to the genuine seekers. And yet, the funniest divine sense of humor was on the part of Buddha himself when he died of simple dysentery, though his medicine for the spiritual bimaris of mankind holds the field to this day. See my sense of humor. As Jesus, I proclaimed, "Come all unto me," and see what happened. Just see what happened. The kind-hearted Jesus knew very well that his nearest disciples would betray him and thus lead to his crucifixion. But because of the divine sense of humor, Jesus Christ could not help getting himself crucified, although the world rightly continues to look upon him as the savior of humanity even today.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
It is said that once Rasul-e-Khuda, the messenger of God, felt indisposed, and someone suggested that it was due to an evil eye and that he should sleep on a pillow with an open knife underneath it. He did so, and thereafter declared himself to be all right. Call it ordinary or call it divine, it was Prophet Muhammad's sense of humor. It is a fact. It is a fact that during the childhood of his grandsons Hassan and Hussein, the Prophet predicted the Muharram or Karbala to his daughter Fatima, the mother of the martyrs. Now, if the Prophet who, in fact, turned the then savages of Arabia into the torch-bearers of faith, love and truth for the world, did not even try to avoid the greatest tragedy in Islam or to stop the most horrible end of his own and only two grandsons, that was only because of God's divine sense of humor in Muhammad. And now to this Advent. I remember some of the incidents that happened during the Manzil-e-Mim days. Those incidents revealed the Herculean bodily strength I possessed in those days. I had such strength, I tell you, such strength that when a fiery mood possessed me, people used to hide even in the bathrooms. And look at me now. The septum of my nose is broken. My feet are swollen. I cannot walk well. The same strength is now expressed in bearing suffering. What a change! Let me tell you that although I have infinite knowledge, infinite power and infinite bliss at my disposal, as the God-man, I do not use my infinite power and bliss for my avtaric work. Otherwise, how could I experience the helplessness of the whole world? I suffer infinitely for humanity, to relieve them of suffering, for it is for their sake that I specially came as the avatar. I suffer tremendously physically. This is why my body was completely shattered in 2 automobile accidents. My mental suffering too is infinite, as I suffer for all the hypocrisy in the world, for all hypocritical saints. Lastly, I suffer infinitely spiritually, because even though I myself am completely free, remember this, even though I myself am completely free, I experience myself as bound in all men in ignorance. I have to suffer for them. The perfect masters and the avatar do not use their divine power to avoid or alleviate their own physical suffering, which they consciously experience as illusion. But they take upon themselves physical suffering in order to alleviate the spiritual ignorance of others who are in the bondage of illusion. I suffer for the whole universe. I must suffer infinitely. Unless I suffer, how could I ask my own lovers to suffer for others? Isn't that correct? I am continuously crucified and continuously taking birth. You all know this fact, and I am very fond of having fun. But when I become serious, I remain serious. With me, it is so from eternity. On gaining realization, I gave up everything in eternity except my sense of humor. I am being crucified every second. Every second I am being crucified. But my merry, cheerful nature helps me bear this untold suffering. Those of you who were with me at the spot at the time of my car accident in America can alone well describe my own sense of humor as to how thoroughly battered, bruised, and literally helpless and hopeless I was when lying with broken bones in a pool of my own blood together with my dearest ones. Yet, I maintained my silence and my consciousness throughout the crises and the long period of convalescence. And now this accident, I am referring to the Satara accident. This accident had to happen, and it has happened. It is a blessing for the universe and a curse for me. The suffering of the whole universe is concentrated on this little spot. This is a tangible expression of the universal suffering I bear. Yet I am happy. I am happy because it is as I wanted it. Now, don't you all see my unique sense of humor? My divine sense of humor? In short, except for a change in the circumstances, the atmosphere and the surroundings, the same old story goes on repeating again and again, which by itself proves the divine sense of humor or the Leela of God. The manifestation of the divine sport or Leela, however, depends upon the great ones of God who achieve oneness with God. And thus, in spite of raising themselves above the law of duality, they still retain the divine sense of humor to uphold the universal law of ignorance through which knowledge divine is achieved for all eternity. Believe me when I say this. I am the Ancient One. There is no doubt about it. There is absolutely no doubt about it. I am not this body that you see. It is only a cloak. I am infinite consciousness. I sit with you, play with you, and laugh with you, but remember, I am simultaneously working on all the planes of consciousness. I have before me walis and peers, yogis and saints, who are me in different forms. For I am the core or the center, rooted in every one and in everything. An infinite number of branches spread out from me. It is I who work through you all and suffer for you all. Understanding has no meaning. Love has meaning. Obedience has more meaning. Holding of my daman has most meaning. I think this is enough for the day. I'm having a terrible headache actually. Would you all like to listen to something else?
बाबा, हमने आपकी बातें सुनी,
और युगों से जो यातना आप सहते आ रहे हैं, उसके एहसास ने हमें अंदर तक झकझोर दिया है। आपके आदेश से आज जो गज़ल हम आपके सामने पेश करने जा रहे हैं, वह उसी एहसास की एक झलक है। उसका हुनर था, था रहम दिल
माया को लिया।
जीतना अब मौत को था, सामना कर आपदाओं का,
सामना कर आपदाओं का,
जरूरी बन के लिए
अब ईश्वर का रक्त था।
जमाने के बदलने का ठीक यही वक्त था। ओक्लाहोमा और सातारा समर के मैदान थे। काम ये इस बार थे अवतार के बलिदान के। देखा लोगों ने वहाँ पर नजरों का ऐसा कमाल,
नजरों का ऐसा कमाल।
प्रेम का घर बन गया था प्राग का वह अस्पताल। मेहरा मनी मेहरू एलिजाबेथ पहली बार थी। विष्णु पेंडु नीलू एरज साथ में थे अब की बार। ढो रहा था फिर मसीहा अपने कंधों पर सलीब, बंधा था दामन से उसकी दीन दुनिया का नसीब।
तू ही है मसीहा, तू ही है मसीहा।
मौत को अब जीत कर वो हो गया हासिल ज़मान। कट चुका था अब जगत से आसुरी माया का जाल। देह चकनाचूर थी, सब अंग थे टूटे हुए, फिर भी ढेरों काम थे और लोग थे छूटे हुए।
वो किसी का था पिता और था किसी का वो खुदा, था किसी का दोस्त या एक दिल इंसान था। उसको सबके दिलों में ही जगाना प्रेम था। प्रेम जो इस बार उसके आगमन का नेम था। ओ तू ही है सागर प्रेम का, सागर प्रेम का।
नामे बाबा is ocean of love. Naame बाबा is ocean of love. दास्ताने मेहर बाबा, दोस्तों दिल की दास्ताने मेहर बाबा, दास्ताने मेहर
I know three things. I am the avatar in every sense of the word. Whatever I do is the expression of my unbounded love. I suffer infinite agony eternally through your ignorance. What sustains me in my universal suffering is bliss plus my infinite sense of humor. The amusing incidents that arise at the expense of none lighten my burden. Therefore, always think of me. Remain cheerful in all situations and I am there to help you, because I love you like nobody else does. My love blessings are always with you. Remember this. Remember this. I am always with you. For you and I are not we, but one. Remember this. I am always with you.
Jai.